Okay, today's video is going to talk about the importance in teams having a structured hierarchy. Now, I wanted to make this video as a follow-up to my previous VOD, while also being in response to Thorin's recent video entitled Blame the Coach. Now, in his video, he went over how coaching is a very volatile job and how they can easily and are easily scapegoated, while making a lot of good points on how the ideal situation for coaches should work and how they should be treated. Since it wasn't dived into as much as in his VOD, I'd like to take the time to go over my own view and break down why it's extremely important to have this type of hierarchy within teams. Let's first touch on some important aspects in having a chain of authority. There's three main points that I'd like to break down. Understanding your purpose on how it reflects on others, ability to do your job to the best of your ability, and team atmosphere and how it plays a role. Now, the first point of understanding your purpose, it's as simple as what's in your contract or the role within your team and organization. Players have an image or character to uphold, but what some often fail to realize is how it also branches off and becomes a portrayal of the management and the organization itself. If a player is not playing up to par, to an extent, it's their fault. But it's the team staff, the coaches, the analysts, team psychologists, player psychologists, to or sports psychologists to help them improve and fix and work around the problems that they may run into. So, a quick example would be like, let's say the manager of a team made a statement on Twitter. Yeah, player X did play poorly today, but I'm confident the team staff can help resolve the issues, and thus, we should perform much better next time. Now, if problems keep reoccurring, you get into an area where not only does it hurt the player, but it also portrays a negative image of the capabilities regarding the staff around the player. Now, you don't want to just put the blame on the players. That's why it's very important for people within the team staff to be very vocal. It's something that they should have fixed, or if it is something they should have been able to fix or had the time to help with but didn't, own up to it. You need to come out and say, hey, this is my fault. I didn't properly prepare my team or this player for the scenario, and let that be that. Now, moving on to players and them being able to do the job they're presented at the best of their ability, some often assume it's a given, but it's something that can be dissected and reviewed in a different light. Let's say you work for a sales company and you're a new employee. Most likely you have a background or some idea how to do the job. And that's great. It makes your ability to learn much easier. But you'll also have a trainer, someone who's going to help you understand the job on a more detailed level, which is great for you because that's their entire purpose. It's to help you understand and improve. How does this relate to your job or doing the best of your ability in league or within a team? Well, I just described a different variation of how coaches and players should interact in an ideal situation or how they should work together. Players have all the tools to be able to help create the performance needed for success, but let's say they falter in certain aspects, which can be very frustrating. It's up to the coaches and analysts. It's their job to help these players not only recognize the issues but work it out. The overall idea here is efficiency. If you are not doing your job to the best of your ability, it blurs the line for people from the outside to tell whether or not it's the players or the staff. Now, even if you are doing your best, sometimes the best just isn't enough. And that'll happen. But at the very least, if players and staff are doing their jobs to the best of their capabilities, it makes dissecting the problem and working together to resolve conflicts or issues that may have arose much easier because you can see everything point or as it is, and you can then work from there with whether you might need something else, whether that be a different style of coaching, different players, whatever, different coaching methods. The list goes on. And with that said, we move into the third point, which is team atmosphere. Without a proper power ladder, it can often affect teams negatively. When things go wrong, blame ensues. Without a proper chain of command, it makes scapegoating people a very serious issue and possibility. This type of negative atmosphere can and will affect players' ability to perform, along with the staff working with the team. You can say why or on what basis would having an established chain of command help fix this issue. Well, let's assume some players look up to coaches, respect their opinions, and use what they're given to help improve. In an event that something does go wrong or something was uncertain, you can pinpoint the issue, patch it, fix it, work around it, and move forward. But when you have a negative atmosphere and this tendency to start throwing blame around without rational outlook of the overall problems, then this is when people start to get singled out. Once a person starts saying something negative and not actually communicating the problem they have with the other team or with their staff to fix said issues, it will in turn affect others around them. And it will easily create a snowball to where everyone just believes it. And nobody wants to speak up against it because it's the popular opinion. It would take a very strong and level-minded staff or player to even speak out against it at that point, especially in that type of scenario. Which is why teams often appear to have solved their issues by eliminating players or staff members, but still run into the same problems later on down the road. And sometimes they grow out or grow into something even bigger. With the established hierarchy, it's much easier to just reflect on the key points of a loss or a misplay or something that had gone wrong and just patch it out in a review. So, why is it so difficult for us to have a hierarchy within teams or organizations within League of Legends then? Now, there's quite a few things that make this difficult, but it's not impossible. TSM is one of the best examples of having a functional hierarchy that reaps great rewards within a team environment and improving individually and as a whole. I would say that they're the best example of this model working, and with that, have actually proved to be the most successful team in NA. But going back to some key points that make it so difficult to institute this power ladder, as I see, are, for one, lack of respect within the workplace. I feel like it's easy to fall into a mindset that makes it difficult to maintain a professional outlook or a persona like you are in the workforce due to the nature of esports within the West. Western culture has a huge part in it, and I feel like it's something that's not as noticeable or doesn't even exist in other cultures or other regions within League of Legends. Um, Korea being the main example. If you were working for a business or your performance negatively impacted the company, you'd be fired. And you wouldn't be able to just blame the chain of command unless there was a significant issue affecting all the employees. And that generally doesn't happen in most cases. It's terrible to think about it like this, and some people might find it cutthroat, nor do I necessarily agree with that type of practice. But playing for a team is your job. It's your career. It's your name. It's your own brand that you're developing. And you should play and act in a way that best represents you and the organization for most situations. Another place this lack of respect per se comes from is between coach and players. I think it stems from either players not knowing the coach or feeling some type of superiority over the coach and a sense of personal worth or skill level above them. It's really unfortunate to hear about this being an issue. The whole nature of a coach is to be there to help you improve as a player. You need to be willing to work with your problems together or nothing good will come. The staff teams built around players are extremely important. They're amazing tools to be utilized to help you improve and not only nurture your current strengths and master already known skills, but to develop new talent and introduce you to things that may make you feel uncomfortable or that you aren't good with handling, because this in turn will help you grow and add to being a plethora of skills that you will be able to use over your competitors. Now, this isn't to say all coaches are good or no coach is to blame, but since it's very hard to evaluate coaches' skill and how hard they may work or how effective their techniques are since it's all behind the scenes, it makes having this respect or mutual understanding even more important because players' performance and words from the organization highly affect the outlook of coaches in terms of their success, their overall performance, and the chance of them getting a future job. It's so easy for orgs to side with players at the moment due to one, players getting paid much more, and their faces and how they're held within a community. A lot of players are looked up to greatly and have huge followings, which grants them extreme power that they may not realize they have. And this power, in turn, can directly affect another person's livelihood. Being a professional player has huge responsibility, and it's something that shouldn't be taken lightly. They're much, or they are a much bigger asset to the organization overall, and the image the organization portrays within the community, and what gets portrayed to sponsors and competitors. Now, if we want the competitive LoL scene to grow as a whole, we should really stop trying to shift the blame around and instead start working as a whole. You know, accept our own mistakes, flaws, faults, but use them. Use them to grow and help each other. Otherwise, moving forward as an entity may never happen.